Hi you guys, Ginger Cook here, and I want to welcome you to Acrylic Painting Monday. Today we're going to be doing a abstract portrait originally done as a self-portrait by Paul Gauguin back in 1889. Gauguin was very fond of himself. He must have done a dozen portraits of him, all different kinds of portraits, some extremely very realistic. But remember, he hung out with Vincent van Gogh, and Van Gogh
he did a lot too.
He did a lot of, oh my goodness, we went to, when we were in Holland and saw some of his, I think we saw 12 or 15 of his paintings of himself too. But he also did a very nice abstract, which we taught on YouTube, I don't know, a couple years ago, about, that you can do a self-portrait. Doesn't have to be, skin tone colors and all that stuff. You can get a little crazy with it. And so we thought this would be a fun one to do too, give you a little confidence in maybe doing your own self-portraits if you realize that you don't have to mask skin tones, just values, lights and darks, stuff like that, So we're going to be painting that tonight. We also have, we'll have a giveaway later today to celebrate 4th of July. We're going to, we have the giveaways for that. Some of you entered into our, challenge about doing our Patriot Challenge. We're gonna announce the winners to that tonight too. All kinds of stuff are going to happen. Plus, I think we're going to have a good time. You're going to learn a lot, and I would say take some notes and see if you can't pick up a few new tips on how to do portraits. Okay, let's just go on down. Our canvas is 9 by 12, and I've taken some Floral transfer paper. And I have I've put the picture on that. You remember when you're doing transfer paper it's on canvas board, it'll go pretty quickly. But when you're trying to do it on canvas, sometimes I don't have some cardboard behind here, but that's not a terrible idea. And I like to use a colored pen so I can kind of see where I've been, see where these marks need to go. So you can see where I have him transferred lightly onto this yellow canvas. This is a neat picture. It's got some beautiful bright colors in it. I really like it. Again, Floral transfer paper. Where do you find that? You can find that on Amazon. If you go to our Amazon store, we show where it's featured. You buy it at art stores. Transfer paper. So, and you're going to say, well, where am I going to get where am I going to find the traceable for this? Well, it will be on our website, acrylicpaintingwithgingercook.com. And when will they have it up there, John?
I should be up by tomorrow afternoon.
By tomorrow afternoon. So you must be a what?
Orange member and above.
Orange member and above, and to get that. But and of course, this is Van Gogh's artwork is everywhere, so it's not like, and so is Gauguin, so it's probably not that difficult to find it. Okay, so I want to talk about the colors we're going to use, and talk about let me just move this out of the way so I don't erase my stuff. This is our quintessential color mixing journal, which we encourage everyone to participate and create your own. And what we're now doing, thanks to all the feedback we got from you guys, is what we're now doing is that we're showing at the beginning of each lesson the heavy body acrylic paints that we're using for this tutorial. And for instance, we have the cadmium orange, cadmium red light, cadmium red, naphtha crimson, magenta, phthalo green. We have ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, black. We actually are going to be using black today. Yellow oxide or ochre, cad yellow light, and cad yellow medium. So those are the colors that we're going to be using. Possibly a Posca pen here and there.
You never know.
You never know. And this is the new sheet. We're going to be continuing with this. We encourage all of you maybe just to pause the video at this point and create a color sheet like this. If you don't have some of these colors, leave a space for them, and you can add them to your list. But these are pretty much the colors we're using both in the Academy right now and on YouTube. So we started a couple of months ago featuring these colors. And whatever's on this chart, and these are, for instance, here you have phthalo blue and what it looks like with white. See there? phthalo blue plus white is that color. So, and then we would, if you already have a color mixing journal where we have over how many videos on how to mix all these colors, we suggest you take one of the blank pages and create this color chart so that just have it as a reference, okay? So Quintessential Color Mixing Journal can be found on our website, acrylicpaintingwithgingercook.com. Yes and yes, yes and yes. All right, so you guys are all with me on that. And what was neat about his painting was that if you look on the screen, that he had this bright orange and this beautiful yellow, which is why we painted the canvas yellow first, okay? So I think probably what I will do first is just take a brush and fill in where the orange goes. All right, so I'm going to use cadmium orange. This is cadmium red light, okay? And then I'm just going to come about here like this. And now I don't have any water on the brush, and notice how much paint's on the brush. Can you guys see that? So while I'm doing this, I know a lot of you are celebrating the 4th of July. Some of you will be watching this later because you have visitors from out of town. So I want to thank our mods for hanging out with us today. So who's here, John?
Well, who's here? Who's not here? That's the question.
Okay.
We have moderator Liz too, Lynn from our Quebec office, and we even have Mona from the Sweden office.
Well, we have a shout out to Mona, and it's like
Steph
way
is with us, and Judy was there earlier, but she's disappeared.
Well, I'm going to say that Mona, my goodness, it's like the middle of the night for her. So staying up to hang out with us, Mona, is awesome. So thank you very much for that. And Judy is in Kentucky, and her air conditioner went out a couple weeks ago, and she finally got a new unit, and then they told her that, oh gosh, we're sorry, but it's broken, and we have to order a part. They hooked it up, and it ran for 5 minutes, and then just quit, okay? And needless to say, she's not happy about that. You could appreciate that, right? But so they put in a window unit in her bedroom, which kind of is cooling it off a little. It's like 90 degrees in her bedroom. So if Judy is kind of, she may or may not be able to
hang in there.
Hang in there, and we appreciate that very much that she's here at all. Okay. Now the brush I'm using is one of these Bristol on angles because it allows me to cut in to some of the the little I can cut into the lines really nice, and yet I can still kind of go down and across. Again, I make a little bit of a mark and then I keep going. I'm not putting water. I can't stress that enough. I'm not trying to dilute the paint. Okay.
Peggy would like to know, Ginger, what is the brand of paints that you use? I know you've said it before, but I didn't write it down last time. I promised to do it this time.
Well, Peggy, it just depends. We're big fans of Golden paint. If you live in the States, it's a great brand. It's made in the country. We really like that. And I like Holbein from Japan. So, you know, they sell that at, I think, Jerry's and Dick Blick's and so forth. You got to check prices. And then, of course, Liquitex makes a heavy body paint. I'm not as fond of their paint, but it's something you can buy. Not the student brand, but the professional Liquitex. And then Matisse, it comes from Australia. And if you live in Australia, that's a nice paint to use. That we used to get a great deal on it when Jerry carried it. I'm not sure that we... it has to come, you know, shipping and everything these days. So I'm not sure about that. But I tell you, the main thing I would say we were particularly fond of is the Golden. To me, it's very consistent. And Golden paint, you can find it at Michael's. You can find it everywhere. And so
Shirley says that Holbein is cheaper than Golden in Canada, which is probably true.
Yeah, and the one thing I've noticed, and I really like Holbein paints, and I like them a lot.
Except for their white.
I've had some trouble with sometimes the white separating from the acrylic medium that's in there, the polymers. Not that can't happen any paint, but it seems like it happened a little bit more with them. And let's see, I want to make that a little smaller. So, but we buy those too. I like them. I like their colors. Great colors. They're considered like the #1 acrylic paint in Japan, and they started off as watercolor. And I mean, if you guys are watercolors, they're phenomenal. Those guys are phenomenal.
It's very rich pigment.
Yeah, very rich pigment, and that's what you pay for it. Now, I'm going to take a little white and put it on my brush like that. Do you see that? Just with the color I've just been using. All right. And then I'm going to take like 1% yellow oxide. Now I've got this sort of flesh tone color, and I'm going to go ahead and paint in my thumb here before I lose I don't want to lose my picture. So that's
Is there any way to save paint after it separates? You can try mixing it back together.
Yeah, you can, and it's just
just have to squeeze the whole tube out and mix it all up, and then
put it into something else.
Back in the tube.
Well, you can put it back into the tube. Now, interestingly, Jerry's Artorama sells empty paint tubes. They're and you can they open from the bottom of them like this. They come open, and they're kind of round, and then you put the paint in and then squeeze them shut. So yeah, you could absolutely save it. I don't like paying a lot of money and then having to spend more time saving something. However, it doesn't always happen. It's just happen, and I've had it happen with Matisse too. And sometimes it's a climate thing, not the quality of the paint, but the fact that
the nature of the beast.
Yeah, it's what can I say? It's paint is very sensitive. Golden, one of the reasons I like Golden is that it's affected the least of any of the paint brands that I know of.
Yeah, they've tested theirs. You know how they're in New York, they say theirs can be frozen 3 times.
Yeah.
Without degrading it.
So I want to come up here now, and using the same sort of peach color, I want to come up here now and just put it on his face.
Bella would like to know, what do you make your purple color, and if not, which brand do you buy, or do you use dioxazine purple?
I like dioxazine purple. The problem with it is, and I've used it on so many of my videos, I really like it. It has a sheen all by itself, and when you go to photograph it, there's a glare to it. Have you ever noticed that? Where if you take magenta and ultramarine blue, make a very nice purple. It's a little softer, but sometimes you just have to have dioxazine or dioxazine. You have to have that.
Yeah, but you get a beautiful purple with your magenta, and what else you use?
Ultramarine blue.
Yeah, that's a great purple.
So this comes straight down here like this.
Has Ginger ever used heritage paint acrylics?
No, I have not. I have not used those. I'm so happy with the paint brands. And Cinnamon uses a different brand of paint than I do, my daughter Cinnamon.
Centelli or something?
Yeah, Centelli or something. And she really likes that. And I think we all get to the point, and I like, quite frankly, I like the Salvador paints. We take that with us when we travel. But we got a lot of complaints that people felt like they wanted to know a little bit more about.
What colors were you actually using?
What, here?
No, on the Salvador. When we were using Salvador paints, the complaint was, I don't know what Salvador colors are. When you say it's a soap green, what is that?
Or they don't know how to.
Yeah,
they didn't know how to mix the colors.
Well, if you had your color mixing guide, you would know that, because we made them all. But that's all right. We listened to you, and we've adopted accordingly.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to kind of fill in around his mustache a little bit of what I can paint in here. And I'll just take a little bit of darker orange, just a little bit of this little bit less white on the brush, and then see, here's his nose. So I just figured I'd do a little bit of this while I could, right? Because this is all, if you imagine there's kind of a darker color here. So I think I'll probably stop right there because that's, this requires a little bit more than what I'm doing. So, all right, so I kind of blocked in his face, okay? So you're going, wow, that's cool, yeah? You have to, now I'm going to rinse the brush. And when I rinse the brush, I don't just swish it around in the water, splashing
Everywhere.
paint water. I have a textured surface on the bottom of my water bucket, which I'm rubbing my brush against to loosen the pigment. Also, Bob Ross used to use a screen that he would touch the bottom, and then the sediment would fall through. And they do make a screen like that fits in some round buckets that's plastic that won't rust. So, but whatever it is, you want to be touching the bottom of the bucket or whatever is helpful. Now, do you see this? Let me take some white in this cad yellow light. I want to come up here like this, and I'm going to just paint these flowers. They'll get another coat of color, but I really, I think this was all full of symbolism, this painting. And it's interesting. Let's take a little bit more of this. There you go. And then over here, he's got one that's, and again, this is handy when if you kind of block in stuff out so you don't get lost in the picture. Because sometimes you get confused. It becomes down to, where am I? I want something a little lighter up here on his nose, right here, and up on this side of his face. And come around here like that. As long as I'm doing it, see, I'll just add another layer up in here. It's still wet a little bit. And I know that this side of his face is lighter. So because that paint is slightly wet, it will change colors, which is good. I want something light above his eye. At some point I'll have to put my glasses on to really see what I'm painting. But,
oh, no.
But here we go, something light above the eye here like that. So that's kind of fun. You're going, oh, wow, all right. So then what? What could we else? We always say, what else could we do, right? What else could we do? Well, one of the things is that he's got more of a yellow oxide on here. But I think I'm just going to take this brush, put it down because I've had light colors in it. I'm going to get a brush I'm going to use just for black. All right, I think I want it just for black. And I'm going to go into my black and take a tiny bit of ultramarine blue. And I know that, for instance, this is going to be black right here. And I'm telling you, this is, even though this looks sort of flat like a coloring book, there's all kinds of layers of colors in this. We're just putting in the first layers. And
just getting the blocking in.
We're kind of blocking it in so we don't get lost.
Hey, Lily has a good tip for you. I cut a plastic canvas to fit inside my bucket, and I use that as my screen, and guess what? It doesn't rust.
What?
Plastic canvas.
Well, what is...
You do that with... Have you never seen plastic canvas you do crocheting stuff on? Or
oh, that stuff. Yes, and yes. That's a great idea.
Work with me.
I'm trying to visualize. I'm visualizing.
Well, I know I threw that word canvas in there and that threw you off.
Yeah, it did. I understand because it's like a crochet canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what do they call it? Needle pointing.
Needle point.
Whatever.
So I'm going to come up here like this. And I would recommend drawing between layers. Even though I am not.
We haven't really gotten to a second layer yet.
Well, for instance, before you do I dry the face before I did the black, so forth.
But you're being very careful.
I'm being very careful. You sock folders, you just go for it. But you see already where
His hair is beautiful.
you can get the and notice that the brushstroke is following his hair. It's curving, okay? And he looks like he has a comb over here.
He might. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it just never changes, does it? A little comb over. There you go. Okay. So that's kind of cool, yeah. So, okay. And then I might take a little bit of the phthalo blue and ultramarine blue and a tiny bit of white, both of those colors, and just come up here like that while this is still wet and kind of highlight that hair. Don't have to get too carried away, but you don't have to have too much. You can just kind of push some. If you overdo it, you can push some back. But there you go. There's a little bit of that lighter color in his hair.
The sheen. The shine of it.
So, John, get ready to...
Uh-oh.
Get ready to...
Did my starting block.
Get ready to do a presentation of something while I dry this.
Presentation. That sounds so official.
Okay.
I'm going to do a presentation.
Before we go, I'm taking a little blue here, and I want to take just going to outline that, and a little bit of the phthalo blue and white, and outline this. And this comes under those like that. That kind of cups up. This cups up like this. All right. So far, so good. Yes and yes.
Perfect.
All right. I'm going to dry this because we're dealing with black, and I don't want it smearing everywhere, as you can well appreciate. Yes and yes. So John is going to. What are you going to show him, John?
I'm going to start with Jeannie's cheesecake.
Oh yeah. You know, if you've been watching our show,
you might as well start. Go ahead and talk.
If you've been watching our show, you'll notice that we've been giving away some downloadable lessons to different viewers who have answered questions or have done all kinds of fun stuff or entered our contest. This lady won a downloadable lesson and painted our cheesecake, and John's going to tell you all about it, why I dry.
Tell you all about it, absolutely. By golly. That's cheesecake done by Jeannie, and she was very grateful and thankful for the downloadable lesson that she got from us. And I absolutely love the job she did on the spoon on that. That is so voracious. That's a neat word. It's just an amazing job that she did. That is one that you can take a bite out of. Also, during the holiday, we were doing the Patriot. That's Amy. We did a little contest. It was not a painting contest. It was just a contest saying, you done drawing? Okay, hold on a second. Let me bring you back. Okay. And we asked, well, let me make Ann's disappear for a second. Ginger will show you the gal.
See, this is the tutorial we have. This is Patriarch Girl, and I made the suggestion, and I actually did one too. I said, if you took this figure, where else could you put her? She's walking here along a little woodland trail, maybe behind her house. You know, you can imagine where she's going to the park to celebrate the 4th. But what would you do? In other words, how are you thinking outside the box? And we asked people to participate in this, and go ahead and show what they came up with, John.
All right, this is Ann sending these 2 suggestions. We basically just slot the individual into these, which is a good suggestion. We've had. So
she'd have the girl, the background with the firecrackers behind her.
Watch some of the other ones. So I was thinking along the same line. Candy sent in this one.
And I love that too. I think that's just really fun.
Yeah.
You know,
And
this
she actually clubbed the girl in there to give an example.
example of how you do it. So Candy came up with that.
Cynthia suggested a pickup truck, very festive.
And she could do that, and perhaps I'm not sure where the girl would be in this, but I like the bird
Well,
on.
probably expand it a little bit.
Yeah, you'd have to expand and maybe put the girl somewhere, but you know, it was the idea of
Good
it.
idea. This is from Janani.
Oh,
in India.
Just yeah, she's clear across the pond there in India, and she's
And
couple of
something
ponds
really
actually.
along the same lines is from Judy.
Judy put her in the in
the memorial.
But now you have to understand, Judy's a vet, and served for many years, and so this is how she saw it, right? But I think that's clever. So many different ways as artists we can express our feelings about things. Who else you got?
And one that really thought outside the box, put the little girl into a snow globe, Lorraine.
Oh yeah, what a good idea! Look at that with the butterflies around and so forth, right? And
Then Lynn went to Shutterstock and came up with these two suggestions.
oh yeah, so she could be holding a big flag of the star thing, and and she could be maybe up there on somewhere, and with the crowd. So this is what we wanted to encourage everybody. Oh, look at this one where she's heading toward the national monument. Isn't
Mount Rushmore, isn't it?
Mount Rushmore, yeah. For those of you who don't know what Mount Rushmore is, if you're not from the United States and you hadn't heard of it, some guy spent like 50 years using dynamite and chisels and made all 4 presidents in that rock. It's a big park. They're giant, Neat,
And we have one more from Teresa. Looks like a New York skyline.
Oh, I like that too. I mean, here we go. Here she is celebrating. So don't you guys love, see, one of the things I keep stressing is I can't teach a good idea. I can show you how to paint, can't teach a good idea. So all of those participants, everyone, you write us.
Everyone that participated.
Everybody that participated. We couldn't pick a winner. So what we said was, we will give you, every one of you, a $40 downloadable lesson credit on our website. You can go through and pick out whatever you want, $40 or less, and if you find something over, you can have the $40 credit. But we have an awful lot of videos that are downloadable videos when you own forever, so you can pick it and you download it. You don't need to, once you've downloaded it, you don't need the internet to watch it. It's very nice. You can just, the downloadables are great.
Contact us when you have made your selection or if you have any questions.
Yeah, and you have 30 days to contact us.
Yeah.
On this, and then we just assume you didn't want it.
We're going to forget about it after 30 days. Trust us.
Okay. So that being said,
so thank you everybody that participated in that one. We will have more challenges in the coming days, weeks, time, months.
Yeah.
We have more things up our sleeve.
Yeah, we're going to have that. So moving on with the with that, I'm going to take the phthalo green and a little phthalo blue. And we're going to paint this first apple.
That's awfully dark.
Yeah, let's put a little bit of yellow in it. Yeah. We have to lighten it up. It starts off dark, though. See, that's the thing. It starts off as a dark apple, and then it goes lighter.
Again, it's
so
all about layers.
That does the that fits the contours of his face. You see that? Like that. So that's how you know the side of his head comes in like that and comes down like that. That's the side of his face. And then we're going to take some white and phthalo green, a little light yellow. And we're going to say there's the little bit of this blue color. Let's put a little bit more yellow in that. There's a little bit of this sort of green color here on this part of the apple. Okay. And then I'll rinse the brush.
Hey, we'd like to thank a few people that have made donations through the PayPal system, and Tint is one of many, and also Joan and Anna Marie and Catherine. Thank you, each and every one of you.
Thank you very much. It is much appreciated. Now we're into the real red, your true red here, naphtha crimson, and it's just like that. And then we'll take a little bit of this yellow color. Now remember, what we have to do with this when we're painting these things, this needs to kind of square out at the bottom here. Is when we're painting this, is we'll have to come back and outline these. He outlined everything he did. Like, for instance, that you're right, that's very dark, and I'll put this dark green leaf as long as I'm doing it. As long as I've got the leaf. And there was a light blue behind it. It's very interesting. He's got this sort of ultramarine blue and white. That would be the color, because it's not a phthalo blue, and it's behind us right here like that. So there's this little color right here. We don't know why, but I think maybe he thinks it's the leaf. Whatever it is, there it is. We don't know. But I'm just putting that in there now so I don't lose them. And then we got a little bit of yellow oxide that comes around the top of this apple here.
Bella would like to know, is the quintessential a downloadable video? Some of it is. I don't believe all of it is, because there's like 30 videos. It's massive.
All right, so I'm putting a little cad red with that on that dark red apple. There you go. So, all right, so we've got that. Those are the apples. Now, I can take some yellow now and phthalo blue, just cad yellow medium, right? And just kind of a little bit over this now, just sort of tap this in here on this apple here.
Oh.
What?
John, do we know what the choices to choose from for the $100 donation for this quarter? Honestly? No.
We haven't done it yet, but we'll get there. I'm sorry, we barely got today.
We thought about it last week. I said we got to do that, but that was last week, and then we forgot.
We forgot, but we'll definitely get to it.
So, Janny, you might want to remind us occasionally.
Yeah, Janny, because we hear from you, or Judy, we hear from you. Don't forget,
Just remind us.
All right.
We have them, we're getting ready for the next auctions, what we have laid out right now, so it didn't come up.
All right,
Sorry.
So I'm going to start with some yellow oxide now. And I want to come in here on my bright yellow shirt. And I want to add another layer of color. I want some of this lighter yellow to show through, so I'm just sort of, let's see if I can show you. I don't want to lose my pattern. But this is really, so it's really yellow oxide, maybe some yellow, maybe a combination of both. We'll do them both at the same time, your second layer of stuff. So here's our, because you'd think it was just bright yellow, but there's some yellow oxide in this too. So like for instance down here by his hand, and it just right in here like that.
Hey, we'd like to thank Cheryl for the donation that came in through PayPal. Thank you, Miss Cheryl.
Oh, you know what? I missed that. Cheryl, thank you. I missed this. I missed this one down here. There's one down here too.
And I'd also like to say thank Sandra, who set up a monthly plan, I think. She set up an automatic one. Thank you very much, Sandy.
Yes, thank you very much. We really appreciate it very, very much. And I used red when I outlined this because I thought it would show up kind of. And yeah, he's outlined everything anyway, so it's okay. I could have used black, but then sometimes the transfer paper smears, and I didn't want that. And
yeah, we are very hesitant with the black.
Yeah, I haven't. We bought it and we've never used it, have we?
No, we're checking.
If you ever did have to use it where you really needed that black transfer paper, I'll give you a tip. Then take some matte spray varnish and then spray it so that it can't leave and disappear on you.
Just kind of seal it.
Yeah. I can put my snake back in here. You're going, what snake? Oh, yeah, he has a snake here. He said, I think the apples or the Adam and Eve, this is very symbolic. Actually, it's quite a religious painting here, believe it or not.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it is. It's got, so here's some yellow right here, some gold. So, okay, so it's sort of, can you see how he's coming together? And these things work because you didn't make them all one color. There's not a coloring book. It's not flat. That's a different style of painting, by the way. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what this is. Does that make sense? That just isn't. So, so again, you can layer the yellow. And you can layer this like that. With having a bright yellow background to start with is good. And let's make this white again. Because that was the other one. I'm going to give this another coat of color.
Sherry wants to know what makes it religious. Just curious.
What makes it religious? Well, that's the story of creation. It's the two apples and then the snake.
And then he has a little halo over him.
Oh yeah, we haven't put the halo in yet, but bless his little heart, he felt he deserved a halo. I think some people would call that hubris, right? Not just whatever, right? Back in the day, people always say that back in the day, but back in the old days, before impressionists or artists, and artists were painting. One of the things that they would do there's a whole thing on symbolism in art, religious symbolism in art. They have kind of coded messages and opinions about life in the world, all done with symbolism. Okay, here's his fingers coming out. All right, here he goes. It's his hand. Okay. All right, so I'm going to rinse this brush. Now it isn't just red up here, you guys. There's red. So we've got some cadmium red, medium. This is cadmium red. Going across the cadmium red. Maybe here's some magenta. Okay. This is how you build up reds. Then we'll come back up to the brighter reds up here. Reds are those kind of colors where you do a few coats of them and they really are much more vibrant than if you just do one coat. It's if you ever have the fun of maybe painting a door red, it might take in your house. It might take 3 coats of a very good red paint for that to work. And make it a little darker up here, a little bit of magenta. But you see how these are, this is how you make colors pop. And people say, well, what paint should I buy if I was going to buy some extra paints? Buy reds, buy oranges, buy yellows, because they never quite, being primary colors.
You can't make them.
You can't really make them. And I'm going to take some of this lighter too much paint, lighter cad red here, and maybe brighten this up a little bit. That's that cadmium orange. And I can brighten that up a little bit right there around him. And maybe a little cadmium orange here. It's interesting what you can do just with layers. Okay, so that's a really nice.
You got a good red now.
You got a good red. Now let's try another red on the apple. That's too much. Let's try a little magenta. And I think I want a little yellow oxide too, because there's some yellow in that apple. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to mix them all together.
Have them lay there.
Okay, just kind of lay that out there. And of course we have to outline it, and then it'll show up a little more. And let's take that green. I want to make sure I've come down far enough. You see how I'm taking the brush and then just spinning it to bring up the apple. The green here, like that. Okay, so, okay, take a little yellow now and come up here. So I have red on the brush, so then I've made it kind of muddy. So did you know that? Because red and green are complements. So let's put a little bit of red there, yellow rather. Now, can I revive that? Maybe. I did, but just usually you're better off drawing it. But all right, so there's the apple. All right, so far so good. Yes and yes. So let's see, what else could we do? Well, we could take this blue color, which is sort of phthalo blue and ultramarine blue together. Okay, kind of a mixture of those two. Have you ever seen our video called Adventures in Blue?
Kind of goes with our Adventures in Green.
And it goes with our Adventures in Green too. It's Adventures in Blue, and I think I had that. I don't know if I still have that up on YouTube or not, but there's a little triangle, part of a diamond shape that comes up here. I think I want a little bit deeper blue. Let's put some green with that, some phthalo green. Let's try that. And again, you know, we don't have to be exact, but you want to kind of try to get this as close as you can to this. Now I cut a little short here. See that little boo-boo right there? You know how to fix that?
You made a boo-boo.
You know how to fix that?
Rinse,
wipe, and get a clean brush, no paint on it, and then stiff, and just come under like that. It's called rinse, wipe, swipe.
Do it again.
Rinse, wipe, like this. You start in the clean area. You can get about 1/4 of an inch. This is how you make thin lines too. Here we go. There you go. See how you can clean up a line? So, you know, that's really, you just need a clean, you know, brush. Take some more of that phthalo green color. It's pretty dark. Okay, let's try this again. A little ultramarine blue, so I want this darker. And then this one comes here, goes into here like this. Okay. And then this one has like a little point here. Another one of these little triangle jobs. And it comes behind this one. It ends up here, down here. So it ends up down here like that. And that's the darkest. I'll put a little magenta with that because that's the darkest one. You'd think that they were all the same color, but they're not. This one's definitely darker. This is darker here. This is darker here. Okay, and then let's see, there's another one that's coming around like this. Again, you want to put that little. Okay, so there's his.
That's looking good.
Whatever these are, there they are. Now, at this point, I might want a smaller brush for this because, you know, just to get a little bit more control, right like here where these meet up, the angle brush is a little more tricky. Is that such a word? A little more trickier?
Trickier.
Trickier.
That's one of the Salvador brushes there.
Yeah, it's one of the Salvador brushes that came from their kit.
You use that quite often.
Yeah, I use this one quite a bit. And now the other thing that happens with this is, really just reshape the brush here. Do you guys do that when you're painting with it? Is
All
that
the
I
time.
want to take a small, now I'm barely touching this. If it's blue, then I'm using blue. Now the tops of his fingers are round. And then there's an outline. Okay, this brush is almost too big for that. Okay, and then there's a let's just kind of clean up some of this. It's got like an outline of these. We don't know what this means, but I bet you probably could look it up. Somebody probably has figured out why he did all this.
What he was trying to tell us.
He was an interesting guy. We talked about him before, as some of you know.
Oh, I know what that one thing is that you put in up with the apples.
What?
That's the back of a leaf.
Okay. So,
Comes off the branch.
so the, so I might take a little black now and just outline my apple. You could use purple too, by the way. I think would be good.
That's the thing Van Gogh did quite a bit too. Outlined some of his stuff.
Well, again, they hung out. I'll change the apple a bit, but that's all right. I'm going to do it anyway. It's not quite like this, but we're going to go for it. Okay. Change the shape of that apple. It wasn't quite that shape, but guess what? We're doing it. Then it changed a lot of shapes in here. My goodness, I took some real artistic license with this, didn't I?
You can do that.
So this comes out like that on his head.
What's the name of the color that is the yellowish green in the Salvador paint? Yellowish.
Well, I think that was their light green, but as you can make that with just that's pretty easy to make. Let's see, I want a smaller brush. I'm going to go ahead and use this little detail brush here. I want to do a little bit with the eyes while I still can. If I lose it, I can put it back. It's just ultramarine blue. I just don't want to lose my nose. This nose sort of squares off here at the bottom. Okay. And So basically, I'm kind of drawing in this with his with this brush. So again, I just don't want to lose the we'll have to go ahead and repaint it anyway, but I just didn't want to lose it at this point. So he's got that's just blue right there, okay? So that's all I've done there. And then as long as I'm in this little brush, I'm going to come by here and do his little fingernails, which he's felt compelled to share with us. Even one on the thumb here like that. Okay, we got that. So then what else could we do? Well, I could take a little bit of the magenta color and do the top of his lip. And then here's the bottom of his lip like that. Kind of almost squares up. It's coming up this way. And then we've got a little bit of orange and black. And I've got a brown color, okay? And I'm going to come under here like this. This is a, this comes all the way down to this guy here. And it's the same color for, by the way, that's the same color for his mustache. So that's black and kind of a light orange color. And just paint that in like that. And then some yellow oxide. Added to that is the other side. Maybe a little yellow with it. Okay, so as we start putting color in, again, I didn't want to do too much until we got the main part in. So we've got most of this. It's the upper lip has got a little more color than the bottom lip. Okay. And the top of his nose this is lighter here. There's some white here coming down like that, where it makes the curve. It's whiter up here. So this is something that you just have to decide, does something kind of curve in? Does it curve out? And if you're not sure, where does it go? Where could you put it? That's kind of what you're going for here. So having said all that, let's start putting in his chin back down here, which we know is white. Comes back down and kind of around his mouth like this. And up here like that, and it comes down to the top of that blue thing. Okay? And then we've got something white right here next to his nose and his mustache. And underneath his eyes, remember, we're just sort of using the CADs. And then they've got some sort of peach color here. Got some sort of light pink color coming under his eyes, like that. And this is a lot easier to do once you've decided what everything is. Okay? Once you've made that decision, then it's much easier to paint it in. Because that is always the case. Something is either lighter or darker than something else. And we know that it's a little bit darker on his nose right here. I'm going to exaggerate that a bit. And up here like that. I'm going to exaggerate some of this a little bit. Now remember, there's this, have we ever talked about this, the dirty brush aspect of painting? That you've got, when you don't wash your brush, you've got something called dirty brush, which means that you're mixing colors on the canvas. So you're saying, well, what color did she use to get that? Well, it was all part of being on the canvas, right? It was all up in here like that. And see how we kind of are getting his face in a little bit more. And that's when you have to decide whether you need a tiny little brush. Can you use a bigger brush? Can you blend a little bit? Can you, for instance, we know that this has to circle around like this. I know I want some very light yellow over the top of his eye right here like this. Some of that cad yellow light. Okay, right there. And I want some of that lighter yellow right here. And a little bit under his chin too. How about down on this side? How about putting a little bit right there? So everything is sort of an exaggeration. Oh, let's see, can we do something like this? Depending on which painting you're looking at, if you go on the internet and you look for this painting, portrait of Gauguin, a lot of different people have reproduced this. And so there's a lot of interpretations about how this might be painted. Okay? There's even a little bit of purple in this. But that would be magenta and ultramarine blue. Even like right up here, there's just a little bit of purple. And maybe there's a little of that color here and a little bit of this color coming down under his eye like this. I love this when you're painting stuff because you're going, where are all the colors? What are the colors they're using? Is there any purple here? There's a little bit of peach there. Do I need to get a little bit more on the mustache? I think I didn't quite get enough of that. You know, that kind of thing. So that's what you want to ask yourself. We haven't done his eyes yet, but we're getting there. And the other thing you can do to outline is you can use a Posca pen. And that's not a bad thing to outline with either. If you need a little help outlining and you're not that good with a brush, don't feel bad about doing that, right? You know that you should shake them up quite a bit. I see some stuff before I do the pen that I'm going to do. Do you have any questions, John?
Negative, boss.
Okay. So I want to bring in this green of the apple. See, this is coming this way. Then this comes down. I want to get cut close to the eye here and then back out. Well, the same thing with the red. Comes out. His cheeks are coming out like that. Let's see, I need a little bit more of the brighter red here. Let's try this. Okay. That's I'm always thinking, what could I do next? Well, I could take a little bit of this yellow, put it right there in the apple. Just take a plop of it, right? Just plop it in there. because, and I kind of got that shape wrong on that. You're saying this is the back of a leaf here? Right, that, John? Do you think that's what that is?
Yep. Yep. Looking at it, because you still haven't put the branch in. It's on the back side of the branch, behind that apple.
Okay, so then I've got to kind of erase the rest of it. All right, so there you go. Put it there. 'Cause you can always fix stuff, right? That's the thing. Everybody gets so upset about stuff. You can so always fix things. So this is coming this way. I'm going to come back to the little brush here with this, and then his eyes coming like this. And then he has sort of a blue-green iris. It's on the inside. It's green. This is interesting because so what do you learn from this? Most people when they're doing portraits, particularly new artists, what they do is they paint the whites of the eyes white, and they're never white. They paint the teeth white, and they paint the whites of the eye white. And this is coming under here like this. It goes up like that. And this comes around like that. So, you can spend a couple of days on this, but I think you get the idea of how you paint it, right? And you've got a darker eyebrow
That's
here.
what we're trying to do.
Yeah, we just want to show you that maybe you might want to take your own portrait and say, okay, so this is how he did his.
Well, Yvonne brought up the statement that we ought to have a challenge like we did with Van Gogh, paint it in Van Gogh style. Now we can paint it in a Gauguin style.
Well, I think that's an excellent idea, don't you?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's see how we just kind of... And remember, when you're painting anything with lines, it's always thick and thin lines. People don't tell you that stuff, but that's just one of the rules. You think, well, what do you mean there's rules? Well, there's rules, and it's thick and thin lines, never just one. Just here you go. Gonna get the curve of that, right? So, and this. All right, so I haven't outlined anything with a Posca pen yet, but that's coming. Okay, so let's see. So we know we've got a branch that's coming. We could put it in with chalk. Did you ever do that? Just put it in with chalk if you're not sure? I know I've got it.
That's the way I do it.
John said that's the way he'd do it. Here, let's just say that there's a leaf coming like that. This is coming up this way and then sort of crooked. And this is attached. And all right, I can do that. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do is paint the light part. There's my branch. Okay. All right, so far so good, yeah? Let's see, go ahead. All right, so then, when I could do something darker now, for instance. I could say that there's the dark right next to it, but if you're kind of, how apple branches have those little buddy things, so then I can come right next to it. But drawing this would be better first. You don't have to make a continuous line either. You could say, there's my branch, and then I've got a stem. Now the other thing too is that you can use flow black paint if you're not getting real successful with the with this. You could use flow black, because sometimes the black that comes out of the tube is not as nice for thin lines. Here, let's just thin that up. Okay. And drawing, of course, helps. And then, of course, he had, bless his heart, he had a little, so put a dot here, a dot here, a dot there, and a dot there. And then, you see how you'd make the oval? Put the dots first and then connect them. Yes and yes? So that's his halo. And let's take a little bit of the light color. Reload for the second half. Because when you paint over chalk, what happens is, when you paint over chalk, it starts to pick it up like sand. And then you lose some of the happiness that you got from painting the chalk in the first place. Okay, so there's our halo. I think I made my halo a little smaller than his, but I'm not convinced.
His is a lot bigger, you know.
Huh?
He thinks more of himself than you think of him.
I don't think he deserves a halo myself. I read his bio.
He's lucky
and I
you
think
to get this little one.
You know what? That's just absolutely right, isn't it?
I mean, who's he think he is?
Absolutely right. He no more gets a halo than the man in, what was it? Your mother used to say that? I'd more do that than the man in the moon. Remember, there was always the man in the moon.
Always the man in the moon.
That shouldn't be doing things, and the man in the moon and you were just obviously wrong. Okay, man in the moon wouldn't do it, so you'd better not. Wasn't that it? Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. So you got that. And you got this. Okay. We've got a little bit of the so you can see we're do you think I should have made the halo bigger?
I don't think so.
Well, if you guys think it should be bigger, then I suggest you make it bigger. I might have made it bigger, but I didn't think of it in time. Okay?
You might have made it bigger if it made sense to make it bigger.
Well, I made the dots, and they seemed right at the time. Do you ever do that? Seemed right at the time?
Seemed right at the time, absolutely.
Just a little bit of white into the green. I want a little bit brighter apple than I've got. Put some yellow with it. Too much paint on the brush. But I want a really bright, maybe phthalo blue and yellow and get a good green. Let's see. I want a brighter green. I want a bright green apple here. Kind of a blue-green, but still. There we go. Now I can make the outline smaller. There, better. See, because the green and red are complements, so it's kind of important that you get those right. I know it sounds kind of silly, but it just kind of is. So then, let's let that dry for a second. Let me show you guys some stuff, okay?
Okay. What do you got?
For those of you who haven't done the Van Gogh one, we're close enough further along where you see how these would go together, wouldn't they? If you've done this one, this is the Gauguin one's perfect. Here's some. This is a lesson in the, I think in the academy. Here's academy lessons of some different types of, Mardi Gras masks that work really well. And here was an academy lesson from another artist, Sear. And again, this is what I would call, it goes beyond impression. It's almost abstract. It's almost abstract, figurative abstract at this point, I would say. Some people might say it was impressionism. And then if you guys remember Genie, which was we got a little bit of yellow on here. I have to fix that. Let me just fix that right now. Huh. Okay. So this is Jeannie, and this is a YouTube tutorial we've done. It's another figurative abstract. This style of painting is very popular today, as it was when it was first created. Okay, so those are just a few things we've done, and then let's see. You were giving me the things that we painted before. Let me move all this out of the way. That's what we've done before, but let me show you some stuff that's coming up in the Academy before I finish this up.
You don't have yellow on your fingers, do you?
I don't think so.
You just painted with yellow.
Yeah, but I wiped it off.
Ugh.
All right, you backed up?
I think I am.
Okay.
You have a screen.
Here's a new tutorial. This is a hyacinth and coffee for one, and with the creamer. And this is a new tutorial that will be released soon in the Academy sometime. We're getting ahead. We're showing you some stuff that, in the Academy.
It's in the pipe somewhere.
Down the pipe somewhere, this will be released. We like to give you these previews sometimes.
Sneak previews.
We got a lot of requests for different types of still lifes. And here's one that's going to be coming up in the Academy too. This metal teapot. Again, different types. We have lots of videos on painting different types of metal. That's coming up. And then we've got, you could really back out on this. No, Andrew and some of you others have asked for street scenes and more buildings. And so this was one this is a street view of Lake Como. And that will be a Academy release this summer. So those are some of the paintings that we're teaching.
That one's about 9 hours.
Yeah, it took me about 9 hours to paint this, and I think about halfway through it, I said, "What was I thinking?" Oh my word, right? But
I'm going to leave that in there too. So when you hit that same spot, you're going to say, "She did it. I can do it too."
Yeah, because everyone's like. So anyway, that's Italy at Lake Como. So there's some of the things we've got coming up in the Academy, which I thought you guys would like, and we appreciate all our new members that have joined us recently, and welcome you. And remember to take advantage of personal art coaching. We try to include, if you haven't been reading our Ginger's YouTube Gazette, we put that out on Monday. It's like a little short newsletter. It kind of gives you a preview of what we're painting on Monday night. Also tells you other videos that we have on YouTube and in the Academy that might complement what you're painting, if you like that. Tells you what some of the new lessons are coming up, gives you some tips, and also we feature one of our artists in it that has, we try to, we feature an artist and their artwork.
You ran a poll on this. Did you read the YouTube Gazette today? We had 122 participate. 57% have and 43% have not.
Yeah, you guys, you really want to be getting the Gazette because that is going to be the...
That's your lifeline to us.
Yeah, it really is. Okay? So I want to take a little bit of this yellow oxide paint now and come a little closer into some of this. Remember, if you let it dry and if you got a little carried away with your whatever these are, whatever this is, you got carried away with that, and I'm not faulting you if you did. You can certainly have the option of
you sign up for the Gazette on acrylic painting with gingercook.com. It's at the bottom of the page, or the home page. I don't know if there's a little button at the top or not. I would have to go look. There was at one time. Nope. Now you gotta scroll to the bottom. Is our newsletter sign up?
Yeah, it's really nice because it's just you don't have to be remembered. You just something that's for everybody. And all right, so let's get some bright yellow in here. Some of this cad yellow light. Let's get that color back in here.
Do you have a video on how to paint ice for an ice rink? I can't say we have one yet.
No, we don't have that. We have ice in a martini glass. I don't think it would be the same, though.
We have priorities, you know. Maybe you need to do a hockey player on the ice and a goalie. Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah, there may be a hockey player, though. There we go. Here's our bright yellow here. And again, if you got too wide with your outline, you can use the yellow paint to kind of catch up with that. And so I'm going back over some of the colors now, because there's a couple of places on here where you need to have things light. And you know, you need it light right there. It's varying degrees. It depends on how much peach you put in the picture. Does that make sense? How much peach? Because there's a sort of almost a purple.
Oh, that's a good. Shirley made a good suggestion. When you do a preview of the lessons, give the size of the canvas so we can stock up on them and get ready for it.
Oh yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that's good. Do you remember what those were?
I know the big one's a 12 by 16. No, yeah. The street scene's a 12 by 16. Let's see. The coffee, and that is a 12 by 16. Lake Como's a 14 by 18. What's the other one you showed?
The teapot. It's a 12 by 12, wasn't it?
That's a 12 by 12. Yeah.
It's a 12 by 12. And so you can see we're just he had a little, you know, like for instance, he's got a little light blue outline on the hand. But not much. Again, this is stylized. This is definitely what you would call stylized painting, and you want to bring this up over the top of his chin, like that. I know when my daughter Cinnamon was in college, they did a lot of study in art history and in symbolism, because it was almost like not all the most of the artists had commissions by the church, and so what they wanted to avoid was trouble with them, because they still wanted to work, but they had opinions about things, and so they would put their opinions about what they really thought in the paintings, which was sort of interesting to me. That's sort of interesting, anyway. He's got this sort of squared off brow right here. And this is a very strange little painting. I mean, I get it that it's strange, but fun too, yes? So we do the thick and thin lines. And I think that's, if I put this in the frame, let me show you guys.
Oh, we're going to frame it already?
I think so. I think we're about done here.
Well, you know, I have a comment.
What? What did I miss?
This green leaf at the very top. It has 2 leaves at the top.
Oh, I missed those.
And
Totally.
It really needs them.
Oh, yeah, I missed that totally. There's a green leaf, you're right, up here at the top. Okay, we're going to have to change this. Good point. I had it on my screen. I don't have the printout in front of me. I blew it up, so I didn't see it.
Well, that's just going the wrong way.
Okay, I see that. Yeah, the green leaf at the top, yeah.
Thank you.
And, well, no, then this comes down like this. And this little thing comes down here, and then this, well, this outlines here like that. And this comes out here like that on his hair.
And where's the snake?
Oh, we forgot the snake. Oh, my
You're
God.
nowhere near done, lady.
No, I thought I was, but we forgot the snake. I think because I don't like snakes. I think I subliminally, psychologically just wanted to keep the snake out, right?
Got to have the snake. That's the whole story.
I know, but snakes, oh, goodness gracious, why on earth would you want a snake? But anyway, here's a little bit of more light yellow in this apple. Okay. And there's a little more green here.
You may want to chalk in that snake before you paint him.
Oh, I'm thinking that might be true.
I know I certainly would.
Oh, we forgot his toupee, his blonde part in his hair.
In the front.
In the front, boy, there's.
Okay, the queen's getting hungry. I can tell.
There it is. There's this. Well, he had fun, didn't he, with that? There's his toupee. I don't know if this is toupee. I'm being mean now. We're just being nasty. Listen, where's my yellow on my apple now? There's my yellow there. Okay? My yellow dot on my apple.
Gotta have that.
So, all right. So what am I missing here? Is the snake, you say?
It weaves between his fingers, goes behind the little thingy.
Yeah, this is, I think, where I would take the liquid fluid.
Definitely, yeah. I would
if you're talking about paints that you want to have at least a fluid white and a fluid
Van Dyke. I'd have a black, a white, and a Van Dyke.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't quite get this eye right here, where it came down on this side like this. There, okay. All right, we'll get it. Now you want to shake it. There's usually a little ball bearing or something inside it. And you don't have to put it on your palette. You can just put it on like a little lid or something. So here's our snake, and I know that it comes off the thumb.
Oh, you're just going to go for it. You're so brave.
And then it comes between his fingers like this. It goes out here. Comes up around. And then it has the head of a duck. Well, I'm sorry.
It does.
It has the head of a duck. Maybe they don't have a lot
He was feeling guilty, I guess. I don't know. I personally think he's a strange artist, but you've seen his stuff in person.
It's very pretty. It's very pretty. Great stuff,
I don't know. I'm kind of partial to yours.
The one thing I'll say about that fluid paint, it's not fluid anymore, John. It's probably time to reorder all that. We've lost.
Did one shake it, or one just thought they shook it?
No, we shook it. And it had a little blue in here, too. Snake has got a little blue in it.
Well, yeah, he's got
probably
blue.
Payne's gray wouldn't be bad for the snake then.
That'd probably been a better choice.
So I told you it's a duck. It's all right. I can criticize it. It's not my picture.
Well, I like it. I like the duck snake.
All right, what have I forgotten, you guys? You see something else?
Back it out now.
Back it out now. What have I forgotten?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Let's
see what the masses say.
What do you guys think? I know this has to be lighter. Some white in it. Try a little yellow here, and there's a little light outline of yellow on the top of this leaf.
The tiny little yellow, the yellow in the tiny eye of the snake.
Oh, my goodness.
You asked.
Yeah, I did.
Or the duck, whatever it is. The duck snake.
Did we get him round enough? There you go. Got to round out our snake a little bit. Now what else? What did we forget? Oh yeah, there's a little kind of a red line, kind of almost magenta, for the top part of his mouth. His lips.
Oh, the separation.
It's a little bit of a dark line right there in red.
Now see what you guys have done? Now you can sit here and pick it out for another half hour. Hey, speaking of half hour, it's time to pick our winners.
All right, let's do that. Let's pick our winners, John.
Okay, Ginger, there's an idea. You always got clever ideas.
I do. So, what do we?
I have no idea, my queen. You came up with it.
Well, I did. So what are you asking me?
What are we giving away today?
Oh, we're giving away 1 month in the Academy.
And if I'm already a member?
If you're already a member, you could have a. If you don't have a Wave and Water, you can have that, right? Or you can have a equivalent of in a downloadable lesson.
Alrighty. Let me find my tally sheet.
Why I keep.
We have 75 entries.
Ooh, all right. Did anybody come? I know it's the 4th. Did we actually get some people here today?
Yeah, we got up to 230 or so.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting here kind of lightening things up that have. Just kind of, anytime you can add a layer, it never hurts, right?
No, it can't hurt. Unless it's a snake. A snake duck. All right, I got a winner. Where's my winner of a month? Is a red number. Goes to Donna Betts.
Oh.
I don't know if Donna's a member.
If you're a member,
Donna, if you are a member, let us know and we will set you up with a downloadable.
That's it, right?
We do want to remind you that we will be having our duck sit-in very shortly. Starts in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll be doing.
The auction will start very shortly too. So Don, if you're out there, use the contact us at gingercook. No, what is it? Acrylic painting with gingercook.com. For somebody that was done 5 seconds ago, ready to frame it, you sure have spent another.
Well, things happen. Don't you think? Have you ever found that to be true? You're looking around and going, well, that curve's there, like there.
Yeah.
That curve's there. He even gave himself a part. For something that was very abstract, it's very interesting to me how unabstract it really is. Does that make sense? Is such a thing as unabstract?
Unabstract, yeah. What is a duck sit in? I probably don't want to know this stuff.
What is a duck sit in, John?
A pond. How would I know?
But you said we were having a duck sit in. Did you mean a bird sit in?
A bird sit in.
He lied.
Did I say a duck sit in?
You said a duck sit in.
Well, there could be a duck. It's a bird. Ducks are birds, you know.
Don't you love that? What is a duck sit in? A pond. No idea what he said before. Usually that's me. We got him this time, you guys, right? We got him. So if you haven't subscribed to our fabulous YouTube channel, I certainly hope you're doing that now. Again, I want to put this in a frame. I want to show you guys how pretty this would look framed.
Okay, anyways, back to the bird sit-in. We had a bird hop with cinnamon. We're going to be doing a bird sit-in 2 weeks.
Yeah. All right, you guys, check that out.
We're going to have a duck in it.
There you go.
That is great with that frame.
Isn't that cute? I mean, you know, this is modern art.
It is
really, and it's fun. And you look at it and you think, what if I'd done the Van Gogh too? You see, the colors are so similar. You see
They're
that?
very similar.
You could do a pair in the same size, and this would be great. This would be great if your house is kind of modern or, you know, like that. These are just awesome. And these are not, everybody did this. This was not a hard one to do. Trace it on, and honestly, they're not hard to do. They just, you got to remember where all the little things go. But if you but.
Remember all the little things go.
Yeah, you have to do that. But honestly, you can't.
You can't do it wrong.
You can't do it wrong because even if.
Oh, no.
Even if, right? And this is just saying this came down here a little more like that and came in there like that. But even if. I'm going to sign it with the Posca pen right here, you guys, right along here.
Well, that's what I would do.
I hope you watch the show. Thank you for spending your 4th of July with us. Thank our mods for hanging out there with us.
Thank you, mods, for hanging with us.
And thanks, Mona, if you're still with us, Mona, you're a trooper. We so appreciate that. And we appreciate you guys. And we have over 40 painting examples in our Facebook club of just the tutorial we did of the violets. If you want, everybody did those violets from the YouTube show about 3 weeks ago. They're fabulous. I'm so proud of all of you for tackling that and sharing it. Share your artwork. Acrylic painting is really fun to do, but there's something so joyful about sharing it with others, and artists that really get it and are going to say something nice, or they won't say anything at all because only nice.
We don't let them.
We don't let them. It's just, we may not have millions of people on our Facebook club, but the 11,000 ones that we have, they're lovely people, and they will only encourage you. And that's all, you know, everybody started at the beginning. All of us did. And wherever you are on your art journey, it doesn't matter. Share the artwork. We love seeing it. And you're going to love seeing your progress as time goes on. And of course, if you always want help, there's personal art coaching too in our academy. But that being said, Ginger Cook Facebook Club, I think the girls have the link there in the chat.
They pop up periodically.
Yeah, so come join us, and we'll see you.
Right, see, Steffi did it right there.
Thanks, Steffi. And again, thanks everybody for hanging out there with us. And
have a safe 4th of July, and don't eat too many hot dogs.
Yeah, and hearts go out to everybody in Chicago. It wasn't Chicago, was it?
It was in Northbrook, North. It's in the Chicago area.
In the Chicago area, we watched that, and just sending light and love to you guys. So light and love to all of you, really. And we'll see you next week, Monday. And be sure to comment on how you liked this. I want to know if this is if you want to see more of this kind of artwork and tutorials. Yes and yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Ginger Cook, the queen of color, with a blazing brush at the speed of light, and a blank canvas, and a hearty yes and yes. The queen of color, Ginger Cook, and her sidekick, John Little, teach you to paint with acrylics.